All right, so the EtherChain presentation, my friends. What is EtherChain? Well, it is the first 100% decentralized community fund. It's a financial system which is created with the blockchain and smart contract technology. It is the most transparent financial fund system in the world. Now, as an introduction of EtherChain, let's start with the smart contract. Now, a smart contract is an intelligent protocol which is deployed on the Ethereum platform public chain. Now, to make it very, very simple, a smart contract is a self-executing contract that is being controlled by the blockchain itself. It has the characteristics of being non-corruptible, tamper-proof, fair, just, open, and transparent to all as it's on the blockchain. Now, the EtherChain smart contract is designed to provide everyone with an independent financial foundation based on blockchain and smart contract technology. When depositing Ethereum into the fund, you activate the program and you'll receive back from the fund 310% distributed accordingly to the contract algorithm. Now, important to know that EtherChain is 100% decentralized. It is a community-based project. There are no guarantee nor additional profits that are being made in the system. It is a peer-to-peer support model which ensures fairness, transparency, and justice for all according to the algorithm of EtherChain. Now, there are no mediators or intermediaries. There are no owners, no company or human interaction, which is effectively guaranteeing the fairness of all participating partners and partners' funds according to the rules of the smart contract. It is the most reasonable, safest, and best cutting-edge financial system at this time. Now, how does EtherChain work? Well, you enter EtherChain by depositing a minimum of 0.1 Ethereum to the fund. You're now eligible to receive 310% of your deposit back. For example, if you put 1 Ethereum in, you'll receive 3.1 Ethereum out. Now, the 310 is returned in 4 ways. You have 1 passive and 3 by marketing. When 310% is accumulated through any of those 4 ways, a new deposit must be made equal or greater to continue receiving from the fund. Now, the 4 ways is as following. You will have a 1% daily return on your deposit. This is for a maximum of 310 days, and it is 100% passive. The second one is a 10% direct referral commission for sharing and growing the community fund. The third one is a matching commission on your partner's daily return. We're going to look at the daily ROI slide for the details on that. And there's a daily top referral pool, which goes by 5% of all deposits. Now, let's go through the daily ROI of 1%. It is pretty straightforward. 1% of the deposit amount is paid daily to all users by the system algorithm, up to the point when the maximum deposit limit is reached, i.e. 3.1 times. Now, suppose that your invested amount is 5 Ethereum. You're now eligible to receive 15.5 back. Daily, you will receive 0.05 until 310 days, or until the maximum limit is achieved by any of the other 3 ways, so whichever reached first. Now, the direct commission is awarded to a direct partner or awarded when a direct partner makes a deposit. It goes for the first deposits and redeposits. It is 10% of the deposited amount, so i.e. direct partner deposits 10 Ethereum, you will receive 1 Ethereum in commission. Now, there are no limits to how many direct partners you can have, and all commissions apply towards the 3.1 times limit. So if you sponsor somebody that comes in with 3 Ethereum, you'll receive a direct commission of 0.3 Ethereum. If you bring in somebody that deposits 0.6, you will receive 0.06. 1 Ethereum, 0.1, 7, 0.7, and so on. Now, the daily ROI commission, my friends, this is the hidden gem in the entire marketing plan and the contract itself that kind of creates the sustainability that we're looking for. And the daily ROI matching commission is based upon the daily return of your partner's deposit. And it is awarded when any partner receives their daily income. That means that you will receive a match. That means a commission on the daily 1% that your partners are receiving every single day. Now, the levels of matching is based upon how many directs you personally have. So 1 level is added for each direct referral. So the more you do, the more you actually will receive. Now, if you bring in 1 person, you will actually receive a 30% match override on their commission or on their 1%. So let's say, for example, you bring in somebody who deposits 10 Ethereum, they will receive 0.1 daily, while you will receive 0.03 daily. And you will receive that every single day for as long as your partner is receiving their 3%. Now, if you have 2 directs or 3 directs, you will open up level 2 and 3. There is 1 level for each direct added. So on level 2, 3, 4, and 5, all partners, you will receive a 10% override on. On all partners on level 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, you will receive an 8% override on. And all partners on level 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, you'll receive a 5% override on. Now, this can accumulate up to be a massive amount of Ethereum, and you are earning this on a daily basis. This is the sustainability. This is where marketers come in to build a daily residual income. Now, look at the daily top sponsor pool. It is 5% of all deposits going in. So the top 4 daily sponsor pool. Now, every day, 5% of all the Ethereum deposits is added to the daily top sponsor pool. 10% of that pool is awarded to the top 4 sponsors of Ethereum volume that day. Now, the remaining 90% is rolled over into the next day's pool to continue increase. Now, the allocation of the 10% is as following. So the winner or the winner will receive 40%, runner-up 30, third place 20, and fourth 10%. And the daily sponsor pool is active from day 1. Now, looking at the deposit functions, we have a minimum and a maximum limit. And we run in what we call cycles. Each cycle goes for 310%, and it is by your deposit. Now, your first deposit or your first cycle, the minimum deposit is 0.1 Ethereum up to 10. Now, the second cycle, once you have completed and received 310%, you can make a second deposit, and we call that second cycle. That needs to be equal or greater than the previous. That means if you deposited 0.5 Ethereum the first time, the minimum deposit the second time is 0.5. You can never deposit less than what you did previously. Now, the second cycle is up to 30 Ethereum. The third cycle is equal or greater than the previous, up to 90. And the fourth and beyond, equal or greater than the previous, up to 200. Now, looking at the full algorithm distributions of the fund, out of the 100% that goes in, there is a 1% platform fee. 5% goes away to the daily pool. 10% is paid out instantly in direct referral commission, while 84% is reserved for the distribution of the daily ROI, that's the 1%, and the matching commission. Now, looking at the important notes of EtherChain, it is a community-based project, which is very, very important to know. It is 100% decentralized. It is peer-to-peer transactions through the smart contract. Each deposit cycle of EtherChain is 310%. When 310% is received, a new deposit must be made to continue earning or receiving from any of the 4 ways. The minimum entry is 0.1. It is open to all participants from all over the world. There are no restrictions, and there are no referrals required in order to receive. The 1% pays out daily to all members, 100% passive. You can increase the speed of your returns by growing the community fund through marketing and sharing of EtherChain. Now, with that, we are going to finish off. It's a very short and sweet presentation. We're going to take a few questions. I just want to make an update call. Let me just put on the speaker view here. I do want to make a little bit of a half announcement, an update call, so that we, as we all recall, we have discovered an error in the daily pool calculation method, and this is right now being sorted out. We are testing the new contract. We have deployed a new contract on testnet. We are right now going through all the tests, making sure that everything is working perfectly. Once this is done, we will begin the synchronization of the current contract and the new contract so that we can transfer all structured data, all commission data, and then everybody moving over to the new contract. Then we will move the funds from the current contract over to the new, and then we will activate the site and connect it to the new contract. So that is what is going on right now. Once this is completed, I do not have an estimated time on it. Right now, we are still testing the new contract, making sure that everything is working perfectly. And I got to say, it is. We've been testing the daily pool. We've been testing everything in every single way. And also the new synchronization code that we added. So we will continue to test until we are happy with that. Then we will start the process. Once this starts, or before this starts, we will announce it in the Telegram group so that you guys can get back to your teams, to your people, and make sure that they also know what's going on. Because the site will be limited during this process, because we cannot have traffic going in and out into the contract when we are kind of synchronizing all data and moving it over to the new. So during that time, I will announce when. The site will be limited. And once we are completed, we will be back up and running as usual. And then the daily pool will be paying out to the correct people, the people that are bringing in the most volume for that current day and not overall time. And also we will be able to synchronize all commissions and all matching commissions that are coming for the larger organizations, and will not stall anything for withdrawals for anyone. So we are very much looking forward to that. It has been a busy morning. It will be a busy afternoon as well. As soon as I'm going off here, I'm going back up to the meeting with my programmers. We're sitting on Skype, going through everything. So with that, we are going to just see if there's any questions that needs to be answered. If not, we will jump off and we will take all the questions in the group, my friends. Now I see a quickly one here. Can we top up if less than 310 days? Yes, less than 310 days. It all depends on your 310%. You can complete your 310% in a couple of hours, a day, a week, 310 days, all depending on your participation in the marketing plan and growing the community fund. But if the question is if you can make a second deposit before you have received 310%, that has to be a no. You need to complete 310%, finish off the cycle, and then you can make a second deposit. Let me see here. I have a question. My friend cycle out. She redeposit, but I haven't received commission. Are you sure about that, Mohammed? Because in the contract, it is coded that it will. If you could get back to me in private, we will look at that. I have checked with my programmers as well to make sure that there are no errors in the code, that it is paying out 10% with the redeposit as well. So if you can get back to me in private, I will make sure that we sort that out, okay? Any date when the contract will be verified and public. I do not have a date for that yet. As I have been explaining every time that we are talking about this, we need to kind of test. First, we need to make sure that we are deploying the new contract. We're synchronizing everything over. We need to test it just to make sure with a bigger volume for the next 24 to 48 hours. We are also right now looking at a third-party company in Silicon Valley that will actually do an audit on the contract. We are looking into the possibility of that so that we have a third party of coders that are actually verifying the algorithms and the coding in the contract, which will actually just increase the security and increase the confidence for anyone that wants to participate in EtherChain. So the contract will be fully verified once these steps has been taken, and we are all very much looking forward to that. When is the maintenance? I cannot really say exact time as well. I do believe it will happen during the day, or we will take the day to continue completing the testing to make sure that everything is 100%, and then we will continue on tomorrow. I will keep everybody updated in the Telegram group. So please, if you're not in there, ask your sponsor if they can add you or connect you to somebody who is in the Telegram group so that you can get in there. I will actually post it into the chat group here. So if there's anybody who is not there right now, just go in by that link. Let me see here, just scrolling up to see if there's anything else. All right, can one make a withdrawal from his initial Ethereum deposit? No, you cannot. The Ethereum that you deposit into the contract, that is a support that goes into the community support fund and is being distributed to all. So once you have given that into the contract or deposited that into the contract, that is in the pool itself. So you can't just pull that out. You have given to the community. Now you are receiving back from the community in the same way, 1%. And if you share this, you'll receive that 10% referral and the matching commission. So once you actually deposit, you will receive 310% to complete your cycle. That can receive the 1%, the 10% direct, the matching, or the daily staff sponsors. Let me see here. All right, what is the minimum that you can withdraw? There is no minimum to withdraw. What I would recommend is, accumulate a little bit, because at least right now the gas fees are pretty high. They are hovering anything between $4 up to $70, which is kind of insane. So if the amount you have is little, if it's not that much, you just leave it in there, let it accumulate, let it, you know, let it grow, and then pull it out. But there's no minimum. You can pull out whatever amount you want whenever you want, as long as you're ready to pay the gas fee. Let me see here. How and where can we check the platform is decentralized? That is confirmed and checked on Etherscan. Once we have verified the contract, you will be able to see that it is verified with exact match. When you go look at the contract address, that means that it is decentralized. You will now be able to read the code, and that code is what is. There is nothing else. All right, let me see here. I have somebody who wants to ask by voice. We are bringing on Mr. Hussein. Hussein, are you there?
Hello, Andreas. How are you doing?
Hello. How are you today? Thank you so much. How are you today?
Thank you very much. I just have 3 questions, if you don't mind.
Sure, sure.
The first one, what are the scenarios that could happen and lead to the contract will collapse? So we avoid that things, so be aware of some scenarios that could be happening and to make everything die. That's the first question. Mm-hmm. And the second question, if I deposit, as example, 1 Ethereum, is the 310% is guaranteed to make that if I want just a passive 1% daily? Okay, and the third question is just the last one. The third question, can I to top up under myself by another wallet? Is that allowed or not?
Okay, so yes, starting from backwards. So it is allowed to do so. You can refer yourself and top up if you want to make a second investment before you have received the 310. So yes, you just actually need a second wallet. You can have multiple wallets in both MetaMask and Trust Wallet and more or less all these decentralized app wallets. Now, when it comes to the guarantee, in the business, nothing is a guarantee. This is a decentralized smart contract, which is community-based, which means that this pool is coming from the community itself. It's coming from new deposits, redeposits, and high leaders, frequent redeposits. So the 1% is, of course, based on that there is Ethereum in the fund. Now, the way we get Ethereum in the fund is by marketing and by sharing it, by growing the community, which is why we have this lucrative compensation plan for those who wish to share it. Now, basically the sustainability of it comes, let's say that you're bringing in marketers. They're going up for a 1% a day for 310 days. That means that the person who brought them in is receiving, the marketer is now receiving a daily matching for 310 days. The investor sustains them with a daily pay for as long as they receive daily pay. That means that the marketer that are bringing all these people in that are helping to build a community, they're sustaining the investor. So it is, like in all smart contract, it is based on, well, our ratio is about 4-to-1, between 402.1 to 7.3.1, depending on the marketing plan. But the sustainability comes from those who want to share it, those marketers that want to share, those like myself and those like the country leaders that we have put together that want to run with this program, because we wanted to have something that we wanted to work with, that we saw that we could bring in and have here for many, many years to come. And your first question, what was that about? Let me unmute you again.
The scenarios that could be lead the contract to collapse.
There we go. So the scenarios that will, well, the contract will never collapse, but it can stop. And the scenario for that is if these deposits completely stop. If all deposits just dies out, if everything dies out today, this fund is sustainable right now today in an average for 50 to 60 days. Now, let's say that we're 1 year ahead, and there's a ton of people with the marketing plan, because it's based on how much is going up every day. But if everything stops, on an average, this fund is sustainable for 40 days. That means that the last person who deposited, who has no genealogy or no organization, that only receives 1% per day on his own deposit, will be guaranteed to receive minimum of 40% back of his deposit. There is absolutely no other contract that kind of has this guarantee. But to receive, it is based on this community working. For this to collapse, the entire community just needs to die, and it needs to die for a minimum of 40 days. That means no deposits. Now, I want to let you guys in on something, and the kind of secret behind the whole thing and the algorithm. Let's say you have a leader that is having a huge organization, and this person is now earning, matching commission, a lot of matching, and that means that he or she will receive the 310% in a rapid pace, much more rapidly than 40 days. Now, once that person has completed that 310% to continue receiving, they need to make a new deposit. And that's kind of also where the key is. There's nobody who can just come in here and build a team and drain the fund. They always have to contribute back. Everybody has a 310 limit. Once that is reached, if you want to receive anything from whatever you built and brought in, you need to make a new deposit, because it doesn't really matter how much we do. You're still only eligible to receive 310% from the fund, and that is the key. If you don't make a new deposit after that, all this commission that could have gone to you stays in the fund and goes out to everybody else. Now, if you do make the deposit, that commission comes to you, but you just put a new deposit in, which justifies that. So that is the kind of the scenario that needs to happen. That is that every single person in this community just needs to stop, quit, and for another 40 days, it will be sustainable, paying out 1%, including the matching to all. And then once it's drained, it's going to stop until somebody make a new deposit. I hope that was a good answer. I unmuted you?
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, wonderful. My pleasure, my pleasure. All right, let me see here if there is a couple of questions before we drop off. Is the daily pool not too much because it's too big, and I hope it can sustain for long-term contract? So that is a really cool question, because I really want to talk about that. That daily pool, guys, is one of the other keys for sustainability. That pool is right now 100 Ethereum plus. That's really good. But we want this pool to be 500, 800, 1,000 Ethereum. And why do we want that? Because every day, 10% of this goes out to the 4 top sponsors, the 4 people that brings the most volume in. If there's right now 100 Ethereum, that means the 4 people are sharing 10 Ethereum. Imagine 500. That's 50 Ethereum to the top 4. That's 20 Ethereum to the person who refers most people in, to brings the most volume. I'm sorry, not the most people, but the most volume. That, my friends, when this pool is 500, 800, when you can come in for 0.1 and win, 20, 30, 40 Ethereum for building the community, for bringing in your network, that is how we're getting the new members. That is how we're continuing to build this community, because we have incentives for the leaders, for the marketers that are doing something. Nobody is receiving unjustified. If you're receiving the 1% as an investor, it's justified because you supported others in this community. If you're receiving direct commission and matching commission, it is justified because you brought in enough volume and Ethereum to this fund to justify that commission. That is the whole key. And all these incentives with the matching, with the daily, I mean, just imagine for 6 months from now, if we could have that pool for 100 Ethereum in just 6 days, imagine in 60 days, in 2 months from now. It would not surprise me if that pool was 1,000 Ethereum. And I can guarantee you that anyone that comes in will be happy to go for that 100 Ethereum, shared between the first 4 people or the top 4. And this is this is growing the community, and this is bringing new deposits into the fund, which makes it more sustainable. So that is the key, or that is the reason behind this daily pool. It's all about, when it comes to a community-based project like this, where it's all based on the community, there's no additional profits, there's no company doing things or trading with our money or anything like that. We're just putting the Ethereum in here, and we're receiving it according to the contract. It's a support fund. And in order to grow the community, we need to reward those who does that. That is the key to making a sustainable community. The rewards is everything. So that is the reason for the daily pool, and that is the reason for it to grow. You know, it's 5% of all deposits. So I mean, it's just that we have had an insane amount of deposits into the EtherChain since the beginning. It's been growing like insane, and this is even before we're verified. So I can't wait until we have everything straightened out. We deployed the new one, we got everything over, we tested that one, we had it audited and verified, because that, my friends, is when the momentum will start. Right now, we're just scratching the surface of what this contract can do. We barely begun. So I'm looking forward to that, my friends. Let me see here. Okay, the last question. Could you briefly describe the difference between a verified smart contract and an unverified smart contract? Okay, so an unverified smart contract, it is still possible to go in and change the code, or that it can still be a human interaction or intervenience in that contract. For example, as of now, when we found this error, we are now, or we're deploying a new contract, and now we're taking all the data and everything from the old contract that we're working on right now and putting into the new, then we're taking the funds and putting into the new, and then we're starting that one. If it was verified, we wouldn't have a possible way of doing that. So if it's verified, you do not have an opportunity to go back into the contract unless you put a code that allows you to do that. But that will be visual as for people to see as well when they verify it. So that is the difference between an unverified and a verified smart contract. All right, guys. So with that, we will drop off. We've been on for about a half an hour. I want to thank each and every one for you coming on. Hope it was educational. Hope you guys got some good information. Keep in mind, guys, I will announce in the Telegram group when the system progress will start. At that time, we will limit the site. I don't know if we will just limit it or if we will put up under, maintenance ongoing or something like that. But we will definitely make sure that everybody knows. Okay, with that, I want to wish you all a pleasant evening, pleasant day, pleasant morning, and I'll see you in the group. If not, I'm going to see you on the next Zoom. All right, guys, thank you so much. Bye-bye.